I want you to establish day one routines and procedures. If I've already planned this stuff out, I have to articulate my expectations to them. You're done. Hey teammates, welcome back to Teaching with Tenia. I am Tenia, of course. I am a I'm a second year third grade teacher, and I'm so excited that you're here because my goal is to serve you, serve teachers that are in their first year, beginning your career as a teacher, and so am I. So I just want to take you guys along this journey. On every Tuesday, I want a video to go live for you guys, talking about questions that I had when I was in your shoes, or that other teachers have been asking me. So we're gonna start off this Tenia Tuesday with teacher tip number 1, which is how to establish routines and procedures. I know it's the beginning of the school year and everybody is everywhere, but hopefully you are finding rest and everything is calming down for you, because the first week of school, it's inevitable, it's always crazy. But to help you make it less crazy, I want you to establish day 1 routines and procedures. Basically, how's it gonna look, feel, and sound in your classroom? Because that's your secret sauce to teaching. Nobody can function in a chaotic environment. Students have a lot of anxiety when everything is everywhere and it's just overcrowded. If you haven't checked out my classroom setup videos, go ahead and do that, because when I created my learning zones, that's what I didn't want. I want everything to be calm, peaceful, and also the LED lights in my classroom, the students, I have my lights off all the time and we're just all mellow and calm. Now, sometimes it does get amped up a little bit when we're having fun and learning, but for the most part, I try to keep it very chill. So the first thing you want to think about when you're establishing your routines and procedures is, what are students going to do, or what should they be doing every second they're in your classroom, from the time they walk in, boom, to the time they leave your classroom and line up to go home or dismiss. In January, after I did my reset, I went ahead and I actually did go ahead and vlog that for you guys, but once I did my reset, I was able to figure out, okay, this is how I want my classroom to look and sound. I can't do that for you. You have to do that yourself. Just go in your head, maybe even in a quiet room, or even go into your classroom the first time and just look and see, okay, what are the expectations of what do I want students to be doing? For example, when my students come into my classroom, they automatically have a do now. It's on their desk, because in the mornings, I'm just so flustered. I realize that I can't boom jump into teaching. That's my style. Some teachers can if they have a bunch of coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I can't do that. When students come in the room, what should they be doing? They should already know where to put their things. Procedure number 1 or 2. Procedure number 1 is have things for their materials. That's a procedure. When you come in the classroom, do they bring their book bag? Do they bring their lunchbox? Do they come in and put everything in their desk, or do they come in and start bouncing off the walls? In my routine, I have realized that I don't drink coffee, so I can't start a lesson right away. And I noticed that students do better when they have 5 to 10 minutes to settle into a space before we start learning. So when they do their do now, they're able to go ahead and do it by themselves independently. While I'm checking stickers, getting notes from the office, anything that a student may need at the time, I cannot give the class that undivided attention. So they're able to do their do now, which is quietly, all by themselves, that they should be able to do. So when you're practicing your routines and procedures, we had to practice what it looks like to come in quietly. No talking, not dapping at my friend, having a good time, because I should be working on my do now, because that is a grade. And they can go ahead and put that into the turn and tray. They already know what goes into the turn and tray, what goes into the binders, and what goes into their mailbox. Going ahead and basically differentiating it for them so that it makes sense in my head. But if I've already planned this stuff out, I have to articulate my expectations to them. And most times when kids, you give them a high expectation, they follow it every single time, and they most of the time surpass your standards as well. So I already modeled what I want them to look like in small group, whole group, and my independent instruction time. During my whole group, I want you listening with your eyes and your ears. And yes, you sometimes do have to get silly with them. How do I listen with my eyes and my ears, things like that. So you model for them, and then guess what? Have someone else that looks like them, like a kid from their group or something, or just have a student show you what to do and then what not to do. And yes, it can get a little funny, but at the end of the day, they should know the expectation. When you're modeling, make sure you go over voice levels. Voice levels are super important, because if I'm teaching whole group, I should be listening. My voice is on 0. When I'm in small group and I'm with Ms. Brown, and my back is turned, do you think I'm listening to Ms. Brown? No. What about if I'm in my second rotation, I'm at my seat work. When I'm at my seat work, am I talking to my buddy about what I'm going to do after school or what I did over the weekend? No, because I'm not getting my work done. Remember, you only have 10 minutes to get this work done. And basically showing them what it looks like to be an effective learner, an effective worker, so that they can basically put forth their best foot forward. That's what I'm trying to say. And then what does it look like when I'm on my computer doing my personalized learning time? Should I be talking to my friends? No. Should I be changing the background on my computer? No. Also, I had the lessons on the board so they could see, hey, you had 10 minutes to get at least one lesson done. Did you get one lesson? No. Done? No. What were we doing? And we can have that conversation. Basically, my whole goal and prayer for this is basically to give students the autonomy to think for themselves and regulate themselves. Especially as a teacher, it's draining going to work every day telling them you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to be nagged all day. So once students get into the routine and get to your flow of your classroom and they know what is to be expected, especially our friends that just need to know what's coming next because they just thrive better on routine. And most kids, if I don't stress anything to you, put yourself on a schedule and then tell your students that schedule, because knowing what's coming next can relieve their anxiety so much. I like to be on a routine and have my routines and procedures down into place so that when a student leaves or is coming into a classroom, they already know what to expect. And most of the time when you set the high expectation, like if a new student comes in, they fall right into place. And then model the good behaviors, model the bad behaviors. Also, when you're setting your routines, you also are letting your students know what they can expect from you. So for example, if students are doing their do now, they can expect to be getting a sticker from me. Or when they come into the classroom, they can expect a smile on my face every day, no matter what's going on at home, like I leave it at home. My students deserve the best of me, and if I can't give that to them, then that's a whole other problem. But the routine and the vibe and the structure of my classroom should be the same day in and day out. Because once that routine gets disrupted or they have a sub or things like that, it was going to go haywire if you never had a routine and procedure in place. Now, I was talking with one teacher who didn't even know or think about where they need to put student materials, how they should go to the bathroom, or raise their hand, things like that. Like, it was just so unorganized. And to be honest, like, I felt uncomfortable in her classroom because students were just doing whatever they want. If you don't know what you should be doing, then of course I will do whatever I want to if I don't have the expectation of what I should be doing at that time in that very moment. So I had to go through in my class, okay, I'm literally doing work. What I do when I'm done with my work. Make sure you tell your students your pet peeves as well. Because one of my pet peeves is students raise their hand telling me they're done. You're done. Great, I'm done, you're done, so now we're all done. And you have just 15 people, 20 people, how many kids you have in your classroom telling you I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. That irritates me a lot. So to prevent that, I let them know, like, hey, once you're done, these are your options. You turn it into the tray and you can do this, this, or this. They already know that they can go read a book, they can finish their previous work if they didn't finish their morning work, or anything in their binder, which is like their work in progress binder, or things they need to catch up on. Basically giving them all these opportunities to not tell me that they're done. Another pet peeve of mine is when I'm at the front of the room and students are sharpening pencils. So they know that if I'm in a small group, yes, you can sharpen pencils if I'm not giving explicit instruction. And just having students be aware of others, especially because we're all working together in the classroom. Just like I call you guys my teammates, in the classroom, we're all on the same team, trying to make sure that everybody can learn in the best environment possible for them. So they help me out and I help them out. I have found that the team effort, the team analogy has gone such a long way because now I see other students holding each other accountable towards the end of last year, and my goal is to get there with these students this year. Last but not least, I already touched on this a little bit, but the procedures in your classroom. What is the procedures for turning in paper? What are the procedures for coming in late? What are the procedures for a fire drill? What are the procedures for me not understanding my work? What is the procedures for me not having a good day? What are the options that I have to me? And I feel like the more you let students regulate their emotions, the more they're able to say, hey, Ms. Brown, I'm feeling like this today and I need this. Tell me what you need because I'm your teacher. And I can't read your mind just like they can't read my mind. So setting those procedures like, hey, when you can go to the bathroom, when can you take a break or go for a walk or just sit in the cozy corner? Because to be honest, we all don't have the best days all the time, but at the end of the day, learning still needs to get done. So when they can and they can't do that. I don't mind doing resource or a time that I'm not teaching and you have all your work done. If you just take 2 minutes, 5 minutes in the cozy corner for you to collect yourself before you make a bad choice. Like, I don't mind that. And basically having all these routines and procedures in place by modeling them and telling them what to do and hold them accountable. I don't like the word telling them what to do, because I want them to tell themselves what to do. That's the ultimate goal here, and why I believe that procedures, routines, all that is important no matter what. If your class is little, big, whatever, students just thrive on routines and procedures, and to be honest, so do adults. If there's no regulation, then just expect for everything to go haywire, because guess what? You didn't tell them what you needed or what you wanted them to do, or what they should be doing. And I talked about this earlier, but I love positive narration. That is my goal for this year. I don't want to be telling students, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, but instead have them say, I like the way so-and-so's doing this, I like the way Billy Bob's doing this, and then everybody wants to be recognized. So seeing what kids are doing instead of seeing what kids are not doing has shifted my whole perspective, because to be honest, teaching is hard, and I've had to train my brain to not say that. You just, to be honest, have to choose your heart. Choose your heart in everything, because at the end of the day, our students do deserve the best and they want to learn. Having your routines and procedures in place allows them to optimize that learning and instruction time. If you didn't get anything out of this video, make sure you model for them, positive narrate, and then also make sure you have a place for everything. I could talk about this all day long. If you have any examples of how you like to create a great culture and climate in your classroom, or just establish routines and procedures, I would love to keep the conversation down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video.